On this episode of In the Fight, the return of ISIL to Iraq means the return of coalition troops to train Iraqi forces. NATO initiates a new readiness action plan to deal with rising threats. A dedicated crew chief keeps the B-52 bomber mission ready. We learn how to breach like a Marine. And wounded warriors find reward beyond medals at the Warrior Games. The resurgence of Islamic militants in Iraq has brought coalition forces back into the country. Members of the Build Partner Capacity Team are working to develop the independence and lethality of Iraqi forces in their fight against ISIL. Marine Corporal Jacob Smith brings us this report.
This is ultimately an Iraqi fight. The success that they are going to have on the battlefield is going to be based on what they can actually accomplish. The role of the BPC here at Al-Assad is really to reinstill that confidence, to train them on certain combat skills that will allow them to become more proficient, but then also to be confident in their proficiency so that they can regain the initiative and take the fight to the enemy. BPC is build partnership capacity. So what we're trying to do is obviously increase with our partners, specifically the Iraqis. And then the capacity is being able to do a greater amount of skill sets. We know that this is not going to be a short-term fix, that there's going to be a lot of patience involved. What we hope to do is patiently build up those skills, both individual skills and then unit skills, to allow them to take the fight back to the enemy. I really feel that the purpose of this BPC can be summed up in an old adage about fish. If we take this adage and twist it a little bit to meet our current situation, if we fight and we give a man his freedom, he'll be free for that day. But if we teach that man to fight, and he goes out and fights and wins his own freedom, he will be free for a lifetime.
Triggered by imminent threats from Russia and ISIL, a newly instituted Readiness Action Plan is the most significant reinforcement of NATO's collective defense since the end of the Cold War. NATO correspondent Mel Preen tells us how this plan is being set into motion.
This group of multinational soldiers are the first to exercise as a so-called spearhead force involving more than 2,000 troops. The force is officially referred to as a VJTF, or Very High Readiness Joint Task Force. The aim is to build the land element of the VJTF around a core brigade of about 5,000 strong and have the spearhead troops able to deploy from their barracks within 48 to 72 hours.
I think that the development of a very high readiness task force that is able to respond is applicable to the east, it's applicable to the south, it's applicable to the north, it's applicable in every direction because fundamentally it is a war-fighting, war-ready unit that can respond to the needs of the aspirations of the alliance.
The VJTF is just one of a number of measures in NATO's Readiness Action Plan, or RAP, which was signed off at the Wales Summit last year. RAP will mean more land, sea and air exercises on collective defence, much like this one, Exercise Save the Strike, which took place in Latvia, Lithuania and Poland. It involves 6,000 troops from 13 nations.
Well, there are a lot of ingredients into what we call RAP, the Readiness Action Plan. Here in the easternmost flank of the alliance, it means that for the first time in NATO history, since these allies have joined the alliance, we'll have a NATO flag flying in each of these eastern flank countries, and that's very important.
6 NATO command and control centres are being set up in countries in Central and Eastern Europe. These are known as NATO Force Integration Units, or NFIUs. These units will be manned by about 50 personnel, half of them provided from the host nation. The NFIUs will provide reception and logistical support for the VJTF and help to plan its deployment and participation on exercise or operations.
We believe that we as NATO allies can feel secure. We know that NATO solidarity is strong. We know that our allies will come to our assistance if necessary. But obviously it's important to deliver that message unequivocally also to Putin and his regime in Moscow. We believe deterrence is important. We believe that all the adversaries can be deterred, and that's exactly what Allied presence on our soil is about.
This is Mel Preen for NATO Channel.
Experience and teamwork are key to organizing multinational operations. During Exercise Baltops 2015, several NATO alliance nations got the opportunity to train together for amphibious warfare. Marine Sergeant Tatam Vayavananda shows us how this training is more than just a day at the beach.
Marines from the UK, US, Sweden, and Finland worked together during Baltops 15, a multinational exercise in the Baltic region.
As NATO, as we're practicing at the moment, you've got multinational troops, people speaking different languages, people using different equipment, and people using different craft. If we just went straight into an operation without having practiced that, then it would not be very well organised. People would be hitting the beach at random times. So amphibious operations need to be highly coordinated.
Improving 17 NATO and partner nations' ability to work together is the goal.
You can't underestimate the training value that we are receiving from working through, the calibre of people, the multinational troops that come with NATO, and it's not just amphibious-wise. This is the surface, subsurface, air, everything linked in. It's a great exercise and something that we don't do often enough.
Reporting from the Baltic Sea, I'm Sergeant Tatam Vayavananda.
My name is Tech Sergeant Adrian Johnson, here in Kabul, Afghanistan. I want to send a special shout out to my family back at home station, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. The Johnson family, aka the Wolves Den. I want to say, Dad loves you, I miss you, and I'll see you soon.
Greetings from Kabul, Afghanistan. I'm Captain Lori Fiorello, and I want to give a shout out to my dad and all the Fiorellos in New Jersey.
This is Lieutenant Williams from Hohenfels, Germany. I'd like to give a special shout out to my old man, Richard Williams Sr. Miss you. Germany's awesome. Love you, Dad.
Coming up, a dedicated crew chief keeps the B-52 bomber mission ready. And we learn how to breach like a Marine. Check out DivitsHub.net for the latest accurate and reliable information as In the Fight continues. What year did the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress enter active military service? The answer when we return.
When you put on the uniform, you are held to a higher standard.
Well, a lot of times, you're not going to know what's going to be thrown at you, so you need to be ready for anything.
Stress can affect every Marine and Marine family.
It's very hard for me to have a career when we're always moving around.
We have the same bills that everybody else does.
And you never want to let your staff NCOs down.
The De-Stress Line provides anonymous counseling for Marines and Marine families when it's needed most. It takes courage to ask for help. Call today and let us help you win your personal battles.
America's Navy, a global force for good.
What year did the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress enter active military service? The answer is B, 1955. Keeping the aging yet imposing B-52 bomber mission ready is no small order, but the dedicated crew chiefs at Barksdale Air Force Base take pride in maintaining their aircraft. Airman First Class Jason Burns spends a day with one such crew chief to find out what the job is all about.
I've been on Barksdale Air Force Base for 3.5 years. So my duty as a dedicated crew chief is to make sure that my aircraft 1006 is good to go. Everything I should know about it, from every little rivet to bolt to a leak, anything I should know about my jet.
So on a daily basis, we get a basic setup. A basic setup is your launch box. It has all your communication stuff in it. You have headset, ear defenders, comm cord. We have a TO, which is a e-tool used for our tech data that we have to follow anytime we're doing a task out there on the jet. Hydro spray and rags, and that's mostly it.
So recently I've just been doing whatever I've been tasked with. We've been launching out about 4 jets a day. It's a higher tasking, faster pace. So I've been helping out wherever it's needed to be, towing, refueling other jets, doing anything needed to help other people get their jets in the air that aren't here, that are deployed.
Okay, so right now what we're doing is we're refueling. We have our truck that's connected to the pit. These pits are activated by the fuel guys, and what they do is they send the fuel to these pits. The trucks pump them out of the pit and pump them into our jet. We have a guy upstairs that's monitoring the fuel flow. We can be going all the way up to 300,000 pounds of fuel.
The mission for the B-52 is nuclear deterrence. That's what we're mostly known for. We are known all over the world to be the force to be reckoned with. I've been trained to find everything that's wrong with my jet that I'm possibly able to do and make sure that that jet's flying safely, keeping everybody on board alive and safe. If we didn't find some of those things, our jet would break and maybe not make it back home or not meet the mission. Launching my jet, it's a great feeling of pride. You know, like that's my jet. I got it off the ground. You know, I keep that mission capable. And it can be intimidating on your first couple times, but it's pretty empowering.
Before areas can be entered and secured, doors and other obstacles sometimes need to be taken out with dangerous explosives. Marine Corporal Isaac Ibarra visits the 9th Engineer Support Battalion in Okinawa and finds out how to breach like a Marine.
I'm First Lieutenant Andrew Palmano. Today I'm going to teach you to conduct urban breaching like the United States Marines. Marines find out that there's a building or other area that needs to be entered, and so we have a couple methods of doing that. In certain environments, they'll be required to do so using explosives. What we do is we have a breacher. He's the Marine that actually is priming the charge and detonating the charge. You have an assistant breacher who helps place the charge and spool out the wire to do that. Our blanket man holds the ballistic breaching blanket, which protects the Marines who stack behind it. Once the Marines come out of the stack, they will aggressively breach that target and fight their way inside. The breacher has just completed giving his hasty breacher's brief for the team in which he describes the target that they're attacking, the charges they'll be using, appropriate standoffs, as well as the casualty collection plan in the event that there should be casualties within the team. Right now you see that they're moving up to their target and getting ready to stack. So the blanket man has been told in that breacher's brief how far they need to be. He estimates the distance. The breacher then goes up and sets the charge with his assistant breacher. So the breacher is placing the charge on the target. Charge is in place. Now they're priming in. So they have a det cord loop, prime with MDI, which is Modern Demolitions Initiator, also known as shock tube. It provides an instantaneous shot from when the Marine presses on the detonator to when the charge should explode.
Breacher, you have control. Roger, I have control. Stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Our Marines have been able to successfully breach some doors, some walls, and some windows. Overall, you have a breacher, you have your charges, you have a breach team. And that's how you breach like a Marine.
14 of the best and brightest National Guard soldiers recently competed for the title of Best Warrior, but only one soldier and one non-commissioned officer will make the cut for a chance to compete in the All-Army event later this year. Army Master Sergeant Paul Muliso takes us to the event and files this report.
Given a designated course, begin.
Get it, Barnes. Get it, Matt.
The 2015 Army National Guard Best Warrior competition unfolds on the 25,000-acre high desert plain and one of the premier National Guard training sites, Camp Williams, Utah.
It's a tremendous opportunity. You know, there's not too many states that get this opportunity, so for it to be held in Utah, it's tremendous. Not only showcase the competitors, the warriors that are competing, but also the sport team that is putting on this excellent event and the training opportunity that both audiences will get at the end of the day.
For 72 grueling hours, 7 events test the very mettle and soul of these 14 elite soldiers.
It tests every part of my being, my body, my person. Some people go out and do ultra marathons, they do triathlons. I enjoy doing this to see how far I can push myself.
It just gets harder and harder. More stuff to train for, more distance, mentally, physically, and a lot more pressure as you get higher and higher because more people got eyes on you.
Already winners at their state and regional competitions, they vie for a place at the All-Army Best Warrior competition held later this year at Fort A.P. Hill, Virginia.
Guardian Evac, this is Warrior 399 to follow over.
This is what the American soldier is all about, all right? We use the military skill set to test them, to show how good they are, how proficient they are with their warrior task skills, drills, and weapons proficiency. We also test their technical expertise with shoot, move, and communicate. We talk about medical procedures and medevacs, and then we also mentally stress them with a written test, an essay, and an oral board in front of the senior sergeants major from across the Army Guard. When we finally select the winners of this competition, they will have been tested in all of those attributes.
Your 2015 Army National Guard Best Warrior Soldier, who will represent the National Guard at the Department of the Army's Best Warrior Competition, is Special Air Cruiser Barnes from Region 7.
Kind of in shock, you know, I didn't freaking, it's crazy.
It's Sergeant Robert T. Cunningham from Region 2.
It's an honor to be able to represent all 350,000 soldiers in the National Guard. To be distinguished like that is just a truly honor and humbling experience.
Reporting from Camp Williams, Utah, for National Guard Bureau of Public Affairs, I'm Army Master Sergeant Paul Muliso.
Hello, my name is Lieutenant Commander Greg Burkett, here in Camp Resolute Support, Kabul, Afghanistan. I'd like to say hello to my family and friends in Phoenix, Arizona, especially my wife, Courtney, and 2 kids, Reagan and Hayden.
Hello, my name is Lieutenant Junior Grade John Cherovino, United States Navy. To my wife, Kimberly, my little girl, Josephine, and our new baby, Francis, in Camarillo, California, I love you and miss you, and I hope you're doing well.
Coming up, 70 years after the end of World War II, we revisit the Enola Gay. And we'll showcase some of the best photos from our service members, as In the Fight, presented by Divots, continues. The B-29 bomber, known as the Enola Gay, was named after whom? The answer when we return.
I want to give a shout out to my family and friends.
I want to send a shout out to my husband,
to my parents, my family back home.
I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend.
To my family and friends in Lansing, Michigan.
To my family out in Tucson, Arizona.
My beautiful wife and children in Des Moines, Iowa.
To everybody in Texas.
In York, Pennsylvania.
Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Chicago, Illinois. Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Orlando, Florida.
Oceanside, California.
And Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
I love you guys. I miss you, and I hope I'll see you soon.
The environment is my passion. Every day, I live for the outdoors and all of its challenges. That's why I enlisted in the Coast Guard. Now, I serve to protect the environment and defend my country. It's like I was born for this.
Were you born ready for a greater challenge? Find out at GoCoastGuard.com.
From combat-related stress to the day-to-day stressors of life.
This package is going to be completed.
This is the 4th time this week.
Stress can affect every Marine and Marine family. The De-Stress Line provides anonymous counseling for Marines and Marine families when it's needed most. If you're feeling the effects of stress, call today and let us help you win your personal battles.
The B-29 bomber, known as the Enola Gay, was named after whom? The answer is C, pilot Paul Tibbetts' mother. 70 years ago, the dropping of the first atomic bomb was a huge milestone for both World War II and for the future of global defense. Air Force Tech Sergeant Aaron Drobnak talks to an aircraft historian about how one B-29 bomber was singled out for that fateful mission.
The Boeing B-29 Superfortress Enola Gay is the first aircraft to deliver an atomic weapon in combat in history. It's on August 6, 1945, and it led to the events to the end of World War II in August 1945 with VJ Day. Well, you know, the B-29 is the most advanced propeller-driven airplane in the world during World War II. And it's selected for the atomic mission. That platform has been proven with the 20th Air Force of being able to carry up to 20,000 pounds of bombs, the 2,000 miles to Japan and back. And so you already have an airplane capable of high speed, high altitude, long range, and then you add the capability to carry this one specific weapon. So it's the perfect platform for carrying the atomic bomb. And at 3 in the morning, August 6th, they take off from North Field, and they rendezvous with other aircraft, other B-29s of the 509th at Iwo Jima, and then they fly the rest of the 2,000 miles to Hiroshima and back. So it's a very procedural mission. They've trained for this, they all have their jobs, but also it's that camaraderie, the esprit de corps, the professionalism of this Air Force crew, especially that core unit of Tibbetts, Farabee, and Van Kirk that gets the airplane, the Enola Gay, to Hiroshima, then Farabee aims and drops the bomb, and they get back home. The scope and the awareness of the importance of that mission is going to be shaping the immediate post-war period. For the individuals on the airplane, like Robert Caron, who's the tail gunner, he takes a picture of that mushroom cloud coming up over Hiroshima. He records that moment. Robert Lewis, you know, writes in his diary later, "Oh my God, what have we done?" So the crew they're soaking it in. What does this really mean? For the Japanese, they do not answer the request to surrender. So August 9th, Nagasaki's attacked. But it takes the second bombing that the Emperor of Japan, who's never spoken to his people, he says, we are now, because of this new weapon, going to surrender. And so that's an unprecedented moment in the history of Imperial Japan. The Enola Gay is a very important artifact, not only for the American people, but for the world overall. It's a symbol of the height of technology in terms of aeronautics and what a national culture did with the technology to win World War II. And so it's a symbol not only of the people who flew the mission, but also the people that actually fought the war overall. And especially in that idea for the American mindset, will this war ever end and how can we end that war? So it's a very important symbol in that regard. But also in terms of the overall use of nuclear weapons, it's a flashpoint for the discussion of what nuclear weapons and what role they should play in the modern defense establishment.
The annual Warrior Games gives wounded and ill service members a chance to compete in 8 events, geared around adaptive sports and athletic reconditioning. As Air Force Staff Sergeant Sarah Price reports, for some competitors, the games are less of a sporting event than a healing process.
Went to a lot of therapists and 2 years of counseling.
When you're going through a painful time in your life,
the road to recovery can be difficult.
With my injury, it happened to me when I was in the water. Both legs were affected. My left ankle was completely almost severed. I had amputation of the big toe, top of the second toe.
Mine was testicular cancer, but you do have quite a few different injuries out here, both combat related, both accidents, illnesses.
All the players on this court were wounded while serving in the military and are now competing in the DoD annual Warrior Games. For athletes like Nicholas Dadgo Star, this event is more than just a show of physical ability, it's a healing process.
And now I can get back in the water and I can play with my daughter in the water. It's the first time I've held my daughter in the water since she was born. She was 5 months when I got into the accident. And for me to get back and share that experience with my kids and my family, it's something that I couldn't have done by myself, therapists couldn't have done, and as far as I know, this Warrior Games has done it for me.
Warrior Games, a time to play, a time to belong.
It's kind of fun again to compete.
And a time to celebrate what these wounded warriors have achieved. Air Force Staff Sergeant Sarah Bryce, Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia.
Divots is a 24/7 operation that provides a timely, accurate, and reliable connection between the media and the military serving worldwide. Through a network of over 200 portable satellite transmitters around the globe and a distribution hub in Atlanta, Georgia, Divots gives you access to the front lines with live and archived broadcast video, still imagery, and print products. Visit our website at divotshub.net and search through our enormous video and photo library. Register on our website to gain complete access to high-definition content, along with breaking news alerts and webcasts from top military officials. For questions or comments about In the Fight or Divots, you can email us at ondemand@divotshub.net or follow us on Twitter and Facebook. As we close, we feature some of the best photos that Divots has to offer as we listen to Eddie Horst's composition, Pangea. See you next time, In the Fight.